This next video is called Apathy. At least the first half is. These are mostly movies I thought were okay or good, with two, technically one, that I'd call great at the very end. So here we go. We're starting this list off with one of the first movies I saw this year. If we're talking about a movie that captures the essence of the book, I'd say that Dogman is a pretty good example. It definitely did the book that I grew up with justice, and it was cool to see all these characters on the big screen. Only thing is, they adapted too much into just one singular movie. They stuffed the plots of like 6 different books into one movie, and that's not great. Also, this one minor thing, but I did not like Ricky Gervais here. I always thought of Flippy as having a more nasal voice for some reason, but I guess my friend felt the same way, so luckily I'm not alone on this. So yeah, it was pretty well done, but incredibly overstuffed, and at times pretty dumb.
Earth isn't yours to conquer.
How this snuck into Best Animated Feature over 3 movies higher on this list. I'll point those out when I get there. But yep, this is yet another movie that got worse for me over time. I was so enveloped in the fact that it's an original movie that I forgot to ask, is it good? Kinda like Mufasa. Yeah, I'm a bit mixed on that. It has some good elements, like the subplot with the clone and Glorden, of course. But then there's also the fact that the ending reminded me of Shark Tale. I mean, that could be seen as a good thing depending on your opinion of that movie, but to me, not really. You can still tell that this movie was in production hell for a bit too, due to the fact that it really feels like there's something not there that was meant to be there. They also tried again with the relatable to everybody bit, but once again, it fell flat, just like their marketing. Yeah, keep trying, Pixar, you'll get it. There is one good reason good fortune is this high, and that is Keanu Reeves. He petted a dog for the first time the other day. They give so much joy, and all they get is a pat on the head and a biscuit. They deserve benefits! That's all I really have to say.
And we're turning the floor into a zoo.
Zootopia 2 was the highest a Disney movie made it on my list, not involving Marvel, and also the highest grossing animated movie in Hollywood. I mean, this is probably the best a mainline Disney sequel's ever been, so you know what? Fine. If this is the way it has to be, that's fine. This movie was pretty charming and not completely obsessed with racism, so that was good. I just kind of felt like all of the new characters introduced were really empty. I figured out the twist villain beforehand, so that was fun. The world was fleshed out some more too, and that was pretty cool. The horse guy is also fun. He's voiced by Kronk, and that's nice. I don't know what to say. It wasn't great, but it wasn't Moana 2.
Also known as The Rock.
The Smashing Machine had good acting and a good story sometimes. I find this one so irritating because it could have been good. The Rock actually acted. It was just so boring and so, I can't even say poorly written, but just like boringly written. And why did Emily Blunt have to be here so much? His friend was so much better. The shaky cam was a decent touch, making it feel like you're in the room with them. It just felt so anticlimactic towards the end, which it might have been trying to do? I'm not sure. At least the Oscar nom for makeup was deserved.
I'm the bad guy.
Behold, a movie that should have been nominated over Elio, the first of multiple. Yeah, this one is another book adaptation from DreamWorks. That was pretty good. I don't think this one really captures the spirit of the books, though. They just needed more fart jokes, and oh, who am I kidding? This is such an improvement over the books. The characters don't look ugly as shit. They're charismatic, and the plot actually makes sense. Last year, I said it looked like a Garfield movie, but hey, the characters here actually fit in the plot, and they have a good internal conflict with fighting themselves on whether it's more fun to be the bad guys or the good guys. Overall, it was a really fun movie with the same impressive animation as the first, but I am scared as hell for the next one since they tease the aliens with butts for hands. Yay! I'm so excited!
Same, but different.
What the f*** am I supposed to say? It's the same movie! The How to Train Your Dragon remake is, by all measures, a pretty good movie. There are a lot of good things about it. The only reason it ranks this low is my bias against remakes. 5 out of 10 is the highest these ungodly abominations will get. That being said, this is not an ungodly abomination and scores a 7 out of 10. It may have been really uncreative, but it was good. The acting was pretty good, but I still like pretty much every original performance and character design better. Some things are meant to be animated and stay animated.
Say that again?
Behold, the second best Marvel movie of this year. I thought Fantastic Four was pretty good, and I'm glad that it broke the curse of bad movies from this franchise. So that's good. The visuals here are absolutely insane, from the space scene to Silver Surfer, to just a typical day in their little tower place. It all looks great. Beyond that, though, I'd say that things range from good to not great. The pacing is kind of weird, and I don't really love Galactus that much as a villain. He's just a hungry boy who wants to kidnap a child, give him a cupcake, and send him home. The performances are all respectable, and I really like the Thing quite a bit. Overall, though, it was kind of underwhelming, especially compared to the 2 superhero movies that came out most recently before it.
It's going up, 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 it's our moment. Credit card debt is exploding. Gonna be homeless.
Half of my friends hate me for putting this movie this high, but most of that half also have little sisters, so I see some connection there. K-Pop Demon Hunters was easily the biggest movie of the year, and while I'm not saying the movie deserved all the hype, the songs sure did. These are all at the very least good. The last time an animated musical was this consistent was like 15 years ago with Tangled. See, the problem with that is that it's just not the entire movie. I really enjoyed the first bit of the movie with the plane and the concert and all that, but then the middle hit and I nodded off. The romance between Rumi and Genu wasn't particularly interesting, and neither was that one guy's abs. Stop showing me them! The ending brought it back in by being pretty good, but that middle really dragged this movie down for me. Still, if it works for the elementary school girls out there, good for them. Okay, hear me out on this one. But Looney Tunes, The Day the Earth Blew Up, was the 3rd best animated movie this year. I didn't even expect to see this movie, but it was a movie night with my brothers and we needed to find something quick, so I pulled this off of HBO Max and we ended up watching it and enjoying the whole thing. This movie's jokes are really fun. In fact, every time there isn't a played out cliche, this movie is pretty enjoyable, which leads us into our main problem. Pretty much every single emotional beat is cliche. The crazy character figures something out, but they don't believe him. Or the infamous 3rd act breakup. They suck. If only they came up with actually good plot beats to go with the great jokes and characters, especially Farmer Jim.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
So this technically shouldn't be on the list since it came out in 2005, but it was re-released for a little bit in theaters, so I'm counting it. Revenge of the Sith is pretty good, I must say. It is extremely overrated, but still manages to be good. How is this? People say that the 3rd act of this makes up for pretty much the entirety of the prequels, but no! Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones are still pretty bad. They only get called good because of this movie, nostalgia, and the Clone Wars. The first hour and a half of this movie is alright, maybe even good, still plenty flawed in the same way as the rest of the prequels, dialogue, leaps, and logic, but as soon as Anakin becomes Darth Vader, this movie becomes incredible. Sure, there's still spotty dialogue in a few places, but that's heavily outweighed by everything else there. Oh, and my theater erupted when the younglings were slaughtered.
I'm not here!
I would have never guessed that Channing Tatum was naked in this, said no one ever. He manages to find a way to show his butt in most of the movies he's in. Anyways, Roofman is a pretty good movie. I find it really fun that they found like a real life story and decided to adapt it into a likable movie. I mean, our main character is still a criminal, but that doesn't mean that he's a bad guy. He's actually a really nice person just trying to get by. I find his romance with Mary Jean to be pretty believable. They take the time that they need, and his relationships with all the characters are also really believable. Peter Dinklage is really fun, and pretty much the rest of the movie is really fun. So yeah, Roofman was pretty good. And that ends this video. The next video that I put out on this should be a top 10 of the year video, so that'll be fun, and yeah, thanks for watching.